This is the Royals POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Kansas City Royals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Royals POSTCAST here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chance Liebau, and I'm here to bring you reaction to every single Royals game the rest of the way. You can follow me on Twitter at Chance Liebau. That's at ChanceLiebau. If you can't make a show live, do not worry. These episodes will be uploaded for you to listen to on demand wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for making the Locked On Royals podcast or the Royals POSTCAST your first listen of the day. Before we get started, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on our notifications so that you get an alert whenever we go live. I appreciate all you guys' support. Last night's video was our most watched video of all time. It has not been our most liked video of all time, or at least here in the POSTCAST realm. So be sure to like the video, and we appreciate you guys for joining us. And I would say join us in the live chat, but I don't think I have to ask to do that tonight because it seems like we've got a lot of angry people in the chat tonight. I've already had my Twitter mentions. Someone said, can't wait for you to go on and tell everybody that this is the worst loss of the season, blah, blah, blah. Folks, that's not even the worst loss of the last 2 weeks. That is the third worst loss of the last 2 weeks. That was not that bad of a loss. You can complain all you want about a lot of different things in that game, but if you just do a little bit of research, a little bit of digging, it's not that hard to find out why the Royals lost tonight and why the decisions were made that were made. And I'm not saying that they were the right decisions to be made. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But there was definitely some reasons why some decisions were made tonight, and the reasons why decisions have been made all season long. And so I understand that there's going to be a lot of frustration because tonight was not a very fun game. From the first inning on, it was an ugly game that the Royals just felt destined to lose. The offense didn't do anything near enough. Noah Cameron, with a taxed bullpen coming into the game, did them zero favors whatsoever with lackluster command, didn't have put away stuff. And for that reason, the Royals had to use the JV bullpen tonight, and they just weren't good enough. Sam Long had to go out there and die in the ninth inning because they just didn't have anybody available. So I know that there's frustration, and trust me, I'm frustrated too. If it doesn't seem like I'm frustrated, that's not how I want it to come off. But I'm not going to come in here and, with pitchforks and torches and tell everybody the season's over and that everybody deserves to be fired. This is the same team that just lost the longest winning streak in Major League Baseball. They didn't lose any games in the standings. I understand the frustrations, and I get that. I will hear your frustrations. This is a therapy session chat tonight. So I do not disagree that this was a game that the Royals should have won and had every opportunity to win. But I've said it multiple times this season. There are some games you come into, and when the lineup card is turned in and the previous results dictate, they just didn't have a great opportunity to win tonight. And I get it. It would have been a lot worse. It would have been a lot nicer of a loss if it was Jacob deGrom going tonight. But say what you want about the pitching staff, the offense didn't do anything. And while we'll get to the offense, let's start out with the ninth inning because I know that's what's on everybody's mind. It is the most recent thing that's happened. Let's talk about it. Here's what you'll be talking about.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Matt Quatraro leaves Sam Long in there to go out there and die. 40 pitches, and while it's a little bit out of the ordinary for Matt Quatraro to leave a guy in for that many pitches, righty-lefty, and Sam Long being the guy that they did that with, it's a bit concerning. But let's take a look at the pitches that the Royals bullpen. This is courtesy of Preston Farr. Preston Farr does a fantastic job on Royals Twitter. Would absolutely encourage you to follow him at Royals Miners. Here are the guys that were available. Carlos Estevez, probably not available. Lucas Erceg, they used him tonight. 39 pitches in the last 3 days. John Schreiber, not available. Pitched in each of the last 2 days. Taylor Clark, they had already used him. Angel Serpa, not available. Had thrown 47 pitches last 3 days and 29 last night. Sam Long, available. Bailey Falter, available, but not a great option. And then Daniel Lynch, who they had already used. So the Royals literally did not have anybody available in the bullpen. I don't love leaving Sam Long out there to die. They didn't have anybody in the bullpen. There was nobody other than Bailey Falter that you could turn to. And while I don't agree with the fact that you just leave Sam Long out there and save Falter for the 10th inning, that probably wouldn't come to happen. you have a game to play tomorrow. You have to deploy 9 innings of pitchers tomorrow. And Michael Lorenzen's not a guy that you really know will give you 6 to 7 innings. He's a guy that most of the time, especially now that he's returning from injury, 4 innings, 5 innings is pretty much what you're going to get from Michael Lorenzen. And so you have a game to play tomorrow. They don't get an off day travel day. They have to play a game tomorrow and then 3 in Detroit. It's not going to be easy. They had to pitch somebody in the 9th inning. Sam Long has had this year's not been what we expected from Sam Long by any stretch of the imagination. He has had his ups. He has had plenty of downs. He's actually come around here recently, been pitching much better. And before that 9th inning, he had been pitching really well. Even in this outing, had been pitching really well. He gets a couple of bunt singles, basically, to go against him. Vinnie boots a ball, which that is in and of itself. If Vinnie goes 0 for tonight, we're talking about this as a game that Vinnie Pasquantino just didn't show up for. But, Vinnie carried himself at the plate pretty well. But the Royals at the same time, they give up 2 infield singles. And I'm not, the Semien infield single, you can say Sam Long should try harder for that. Best case scenario there is that it's an infield single because Semien can run. Semien's a good runner. Best case scenario is that it's an infield single or a bang-bang play. Sam Long makes a play. It's a bang-bang play. But that's probably a 10%, 5 to 10% chance of happening. Worst case scenario with anybody in the bullpen, this is about a 40% chance of happening, is Long yanks it up the line and that ball goes to the to the tarp and the Rangers score a pair and don't get the ball to the infield the entire inning. I'm fine with them letting it be and pitching to Higashioka. They didn't have any righties left in the bullpen. They just didn't have anybody available. And while you can say what you want about Quatraro's bullpen management, he just had a JV bullpen tonight. Lucas Ursig was available, and he came in. He did blow the save. The little fist from Corey Seager, whatever, man. Daniel Lynch had already thrown. He didn't pitch great. Taylor Clark had already pitched. And in the bullpen right now, other than Bailey Falter, they don't really have any guys that you can count on as length guys. Jonathan Boland's been that guy at times this season where they can count on him for lengths. But they don't have a guy in the bullpen right now other than Bailey Falter, really. Taylor Clark to a certain extent. But other than that, you're talking about Daniel Lynch being really the only guy that I trust to go more than an inning. And so you have a bullpen that does not have any long guys and at the same time also doesn't have very much available tonight. Carlos Estevez is probably available in emergency duty in like a 1-run game in the 9th. But other than that, you probably just didn't have anything available. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated as all get out. It was a game that the Royals should have won, but in no way, shape, or form is it on Sam. I don't think it's on Sam Long at all. I think, if anything, it is on a putrid offensive performance against one of the league's worst bullpens over the last month and not being able to plate anything after the first inning. And a lot of it has to do with base running, bad base running. A lot of it has to do with being too aggressive on the bases. And some of it maybe potentially has to do with making some substitutions. And I know there are some people that are upset about the Adam Frazier sub out. I've been on here as an Adam Frazier. I love Adam Frazier. I think he's a great ball player. Numbers aren't good against lefties. So we are going to keep that rolling. We're going to keep this, I don't want to say negative talk going, but we're going to keep this chit chat going regarding the Matt Quatraro decisions in this game and regarding the lineup decisions made by one Matt Quatraro. That's all coming up next on the Royals Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game. Like if you're wanting to make the trek up to Detroit, or maybe you want to catch the matinee matchup tomorrow between the Royals and the Rangers. You can do that with Gametime. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Those terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today for last-minute tickets. Lowest prices guaranteed. All right, keep the comments coming, guys. We appreciate you guys for being here in the chat. Viewership probably not going to be as good as it would have been if we see a walk-off win, but appreciate you guys for being here with us. Obviously, the winning streak coming to a close sucks. And while the bullpen management left a lot to be desired, but obviously those conditions are kind of understandable, and you can explain them. A lot of people are upset about the decisions made in the lineup, and especially pinch hitting for Matt Quatraro tonight. Listen, Matt Quatraro is a big righty lefty guy. He loves righty lefty. Say what you want about it. You can say, I get it. It might not be everybody's cup of tea. So be it. But Matt Quatraro loves to play the numbers. He is a guy that I like analytics. Sue me. I think it's the modern era of baseball. You want to know what teams use analytics more than anybody else? The Milwaukee Brewers, who have the best record in all of baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Tampa Bay Rays. 3 of the stalwarts of consistent franchises in Major League Baseball. Matt Quatraro is one of the better analytical managers in baseball. Now, could he have better feel at times for his team? Absolutely. But you have to come to a certain balance. And listen, he's in year 4 as a Major League manager. He's still learning. And he's got a team that you kind of have to play matchups. Mike Yastrzemski is not a good hitter against left-handed pitching. Adam Frazier, not a good hitter against left-handed pitching. He's hitting .214 this season against lefties. Nick Loftin career, .255 against lefties. You play those numbers. You play the cards how they lay. Matt Quatraro's been dealt a pretty tough hand. In tonight's game, a bullpen game from the Rangers, where you're going to be able to see them kind of pick little matchups that they want to get, you're going to have that happen. You're going to have to pinch hit earlier than later. And while I would have rather seen Randall Grichuk in that spot with the runners at the corners for it would have been Frazier in that spot, but obviously it was Nick Loftin who came in. Would have rather seen Randall Grichuk, who didn't have a great game tonight, but he provides a little bit more experience at the plate. But who are you going to have play second base? Are you going to have Nick Loftin come in and play second and burn an entire AB from Randall Grichuk and not be able to use him the rest of the night? I understand the frustration. I do. But the results are never guaranteed. A good process can always breed consistent results. But I think that the results have been sporadic at times, and that's because this team is hard to predict. You've got a lot of guys that are streaky on this team. You don't have a lot of bona fide major league caliber hitters in this lineup. You have to play matchups because there are significant holes in a lot of these guys' games. I love me some Mike Yastrzemski. I have been singing the praises of Adam Frazier for over a month now. But now we sit here on August 20th, 2025, and I do like the way that Matt Quatraro has managed this team. They have to play matchups because you don't have a very good left-handed pitcher hitting Adam Frazier. Mike Yastrzemski is about the same way against lefties. Kyle Isbell, John Rave, not good against lefties, but who are you going to have play center? I'd rather have Isbell up there than Tolbert. But against lefties, I'd rather have Loftin than Frazier. And that's just me personally. I get there are some people over there that might not agree with that. And that's fine. That's freedom of opinion. We all have disagreements at times. But man, oh man, it was frustrating to see 2 putrid ABs from Nick Loftin tonight. And I don't think that Nick Loftin factors into this team in the future. This is his last option year. I don't think he comes back next season. He seems like a primo DFA candidate in the offseason. I think they can upgrade over him. But tonight, you just didn't get enough out of some of those guys in the lineup. You didn't get enough out of Maikel Garcia, 0 for 3 tonight. Adam Frazier, Nick Loftin, 0 for 4. India, 0 for 3. Rave, 0 for. Grichuk, 0 for. Isbell, 1 for 4. You got what you needed. Pasquatch, Bobby, and Yaz, they combined for 6 of the 8 hits, and they had Vinnie had 2 walks to go with it as well. So I think that you can be a bit of a skeptic when it comes to Matt Quatraro's lineup decisions. But if you just do a little bit of research, a little bit of digging, and, I trust that Matt Quatraro has a better feel for that team than I do down here in Wichita, sitting on my couch watching the game with a cold beer in hand. I think that Matt Quatraro, who is around that team every day and has a feel for what guys are comfortable with and uncomfortable with, I trust him to a certain extent. Maybe I'm wrong in that. Maybe it's blind faith, but I do trust that he has a better feel than I do sitting in my recliner playing armchair quarterback. But I do agree that it is frustrating when you see Nick Lofton come in the 5th inning. But in a game where you have a bullpen game like the Rangers did today, and they're going to be able to pick matchups, they're going to be able to go lefty-lefty, you have to have guys on the bench like a Lofton and like a Grichuk who can step in at a moment's notice and keep you away from those really bad appearances from Yaz and from Rave and from Frazier, because at their best, they are just platoon bats. Those guys are just platoon bats on both sides. That's what the Royals picked up at the trade deadline. They could not find, there's not a guy that's going to hit both ways really well that the Royals could have gotten for what they were willing to give up. They had to settle for some guys that were on the budget end, but also at the same time were able to, hit a specific pitch or hit a, fill a certain hole that this team needed. And I'm frustrated. I think this was a loss that they could have prevented, but they could have prevented it by having much better performances from the 4 through 9 guys in the lineup. And, say what you want. Frazier was 0 for 2 tonight. If he's 2 for 2, probably doesn't get pinch hit for. If John Rave is 2 for 2 or 1 for 2 with a double or a triple, then he probably stays in to hit against a lefty. But they were both over, and Matt Quatraro decided to go with what was statistically the better answer at the plate. So a frustrating loss for the Royals tonight. But guess what? 3 days ago, we were saying they just got to take 3 of 4 or split the series with the Rangers. They've already split the series with the Rangers. They're fine. I'm not worried at all about this series. We just said they have to split or take 3 of 4, and Seattle lost today. The Royals did not lose any ground in the playoff race. While it can be frustrating to have a loss like this, I don't think there's any momentum lost. It'll be interesting to see how they show up tomorrow. It'll be a hot summer day in Kansas City. Mikey Muscles will be going on the mound. They need a quality start out of him, and I mean a literal quality start. 6 innings and less than 3 runs. That's the doctor's note for tomorrow's prescription. That's what the Royals need heading into tomorrow's game against the Rangers. They cannot have another one of these games where they have to go to their bullpen through 4 innings. That just can't happen. They have to be better on the mound, and this bullpen is just getting taxed right now. It's similar to what the Guardians had last season, although not to the extreme that they have. But the Royals bullpen has thrown a ton of innings here recently. They need a big outing from Mike Lorenzen tomorrow. All right, we'll be back tomorrow afternoon. We hope you guys can join us. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on our notifications so that you get an alert whenever we go live. We'll see you tomorrow for another edition of the Royals Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network.